It's time for RPM Club, the weekly radio show that celebrates the love of cars as we break down the business and pleasure of all things automotive. If you're passionate about cars, you'll love RPM Club. Here are your hosts, Rick and Rob Mancuso.
Welcome to the RPM Club with the Mancuso brothers.
Show number 2.
Show number 2. We are pros now. I'm Rob.
Rick here, too, as well.
And we welcome you back to the show. The one show that you're going to find pretty quickly is all about the love of driving, the love of cars, everything positive about automobiles.
And the therapeutic value it has.
You keep going back to that, and I like that. It is therapy.
For
the
me,
right
it
car
is.
on the right day is definitely therapy.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we do at the beginning of each show is look at a couple news events that took place the week before. But I do remember, I think you kind of prompted me to make some predictions, or one prediction, and I asked you to make one.
I remember yours.
For something that might happen since our last show. Well,
should we back up for a second, though, and give a little more background, a little color to us briefly, like
Sure.
we did at the beginning? You led the way very well last time on that, saying about the automotive background, but briefly, and the show's not about us.
Clearly.
It's about the listeners. That's what we're after, listener opinions.
Clearly. Yeah. I mean, for those that haven't listened before, I've spent my entire life in the auto industry, been a dealer for many years, been on the corporate side for many years. Everything I've done has been automotive, and God willing, will continue to be automotive.
Yeah, this is really fun.
And you know the drill because you preceded me in all of this.
Not by much.
20 or 30 years?
No.
One of the things we should mention also is the fact that we do have a 24/7 call and text number, and we'd love to hear comments from listeners.
Really important.
Love your questions, love your comments. You can call or text us anytime, 312-772-6834. One more time, 312-772-6834. And our website, easy to remember, rpmclub.com, where you can listen to episodes, you can listen live, or you can listen to past episodes. So we'd love to hear from you.
I feel like you've been taking radio coaching classes at night and not sharing that with me.
That's exactly what's been going on.
Okay. Because you sound so good at this. That, I'm kind of in awe.
Fake it till you make it.
Okay.
Your prediction last week had something to do with EVs, I believe.
I just said I think electric cars are creeping steadily back towards mainstream America.
Well, the numbers are showing that, and it's odd the way the numbers show that, because it's a month-to-month comparison of a slowdown in the decline in sales since they took the federal tax credit away. The decline has slowed down, and now we're going to see some growth. And we can talk more about why we think some of these EVs, Tesla, again, I'll try not to talk too much about Tesla, might be the real leader, maybe for quite a long time. And as a matter of fact, my prediction, I said Ford would have yet another recall.
I remember that.
I was wrong until 3 hours before we came to the studio.
Pulled it out.
I just got it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And they just recalled 348,000 Explorers and Aviators for a second-row seat latch issue that could be problematic in an accident. So if you're driving a 2020 or 2020 through 2026 Aviator or Explorer, you will hear from Ford.
You need to
tell you what to do. Get it done.
Get it done. You need to get it done. The reality is this may have happened to one or two cars.
Right.
Maybe.
Right.
Or could have happened or sort of happened, and they were recalling hundreds of thousands to play it safe. And they're good at doing that, and they are smart to do it that way.
And what's the phrase? Out of an abundance of caution that we hear so often, but it certainly is a safety issue. All of these things have to be addressed.
I got a side question. I saw an ad, and I know Cadillac is really rocking with their version of the EV SUV. What's the name of it?
The Lyric, I believe.
I think it is. Did I read that right? It has a range of 475 miles?
You know, it could. It definitely could. A lot of the range.
Good-looking car.
Right? I mean, it depends on the batteries, and it depends on the power. It depends on the motors.
First time I've seen a 4 number.
Yeah. I think, Elon claims he's real close to a 1,000,000-mile battery.
Wow.
But he's prone to hyperbole, as we know, which is why those of us that love him.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about last week, too, in the show is the love of cars. And there was this trend in the media that it was waning and that the younger generations didn't want anything to do with cars. I ran across a survey. Now, it was taken by Hagerty, so I don't know if that skews the results or not, but they surveyed Gen Zers, and 60% said someday they want to own a collector car.
Interesting.
And I thought that was very interesting. And then I looked at some of the aftermarket companies and looked at their sales, and they're skyrocketing. So maybe if people aren't buying a new car, because the average age of cars is increasing a little bit all the time, maybe an affordability issue, which could be another show.
Sure.
I mean, we could talk a lot about that. They're doing things to the car they have now. They're personalizing it. They're having fun with it that way. But I think, Rick, this is a great time for you to talk about. We spent some time up at Road America, and you're the one in the family with the racing background. And what an event, an international event. And if you live in Chicago, even in Detroit, it's not that far away. But maybe talk a little bit about that.
Give you a little color on that. First of all, Road America, 50 miles north of Milwaukee. Stop any driver anywhere in the world, excuse me, that's been on a track and ask him to list the 5 greatest racetracks in the world. One of them is likely Road America. 4 miles long on 400-plus acres, an elevation change of 112 feet from the low point of the track to the high point. That's, by the way, is like 10 stories, right?
Sure.
And 14 turns. So 3 straightaways where you're flat out in top gear, holding the pedal on the floor, and could probably count to 8 or 9 or 10 before you reach over for the brake pedal, slow it down.
And all kinds of cars have raced there, right?
Oh, yeah, from everything in the world you could think of. And you can see it in the vintage race, all the different categories of cars.
Now, there's never been a Formula One race there.
No.
And why would that be? Does it not have the infrastructure, perhaps?
That's correct. That's exactly right. Formula One's a little fussier. They want the garages. They want bottled water. They don't want tap water. They want certain garage amenities, and hotels have to be close by. But, you know, the PGA seems to make it work. So
IndyCar makes it work.
IndyCar makes it work. NASCAR made it work. Maybe Formula One needs to lighten up a little bit.
You know, I hold a record at Road America that I believe has not been broken.
I think that should be immortalized in just a moment here. Tell me, please.
Some time ago, I was racing a showroom stock Honda.
This is good.
And I was a Honda dealer at the time, and I just happened to win the race because I frankly had better equipment than everybody else. Had nothing to do with me. And
Were there any other cars in your class?
There were.
Okay. 1 or 2 or 10 or?
There were about 7 or 8.
Oh, okay.
No, I was not alone on the track.
Okay, I was just asking.
If that's where you were headed.
I was.
Okay. And I happened to win the race, and you get to do a victory lap, and it was casual at that time, and my now wife got in the car to do the victory lap with me, and we did the long 4-mile victory lap, and adrenaline's pumping, and it's so great. She said, "Why don't we go around again?" And I said, "I think that's a great idea," which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah.
Until I got black flagged on every corner and waved in by the guy running the race, the chief steward, who took me apart piece by piece.
I'm sure he did. And they're very proficient at doing that when you do something like that.
They didn't think it was funny. But a little bit about the event we were at.
WeatherTech International Challenge. Started as a vintage race here in Chicago by Joe Marchetti from the Como Inn probably 40 years ago, where he approached Road America and thought it would be a good idea to run some of the older vintage cars up there. And as I'm told, he made a deal with them where he got a real deal on the track. They were going to provide a special pricing, but he got the gate. If he would pay for the special deal they give him on the track, he could keep the gate, because they didn't expect much of a gate, and then it just absolutely exploded. 4 or 5 years into it, they had 40, 50, 60,000 on the weekend, and it was now managed by Historic Sports Car Racing and Sports Car Vintage Racing Associates, and then Road America keeps an overview on all the different classes and events they have. Thursday night dinners that we were involved in for the 450 entries, and the corner workers and the EMT and the administration staff and the crew people. It's a huge deal. People come from all over the world for it.
And what kind of cars, to describe it for our listeners?
From a little bug-eyed Sprite to a whole grid of ex-Formula One cars, and GT cars in between, and prototypes and sports racers and production cars and Formula Atlantics and Formula Vs and any other thing you can think of, it's there.
And there's quite an event that takes place in downtown Elkhart Lake as well, right?
Friday and Saturday night, one night, and that's a wonderful town, by the way. One night they drive the race cars, about 150 of them downtown.
How great is that?
Yeah.
Come on.
And they just park downtown, and the downtown gets shut off, and everybody walks around and has like an outdoor car show. And then the next night they drive the streetcars, interesting streetcars down.
And this is all open to the public. This is not a
Absolutely
collector car owner-only event, right?
And everybody's welcome.
Well, there's a lot that goes on in the motoring world that's not far from Chicago and Detroit, and we cover most of it. We participate in a lot of it.
We do.
And we can talk more about that when we get back. By the way, we've got some great guests. I said guests, plural,
That's true.
coming on the show today, so stick around. You're listening to the RPM Club.
Perfect.
Celebrating the love of cars and the joy of driving. You're listening to RPM Club with Rick and Rob Mancuso.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the RPM Club with the Mancuso brothers. Just a reminder, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call or text us at 312-772-6834. One more time, 312-772-6834. Now, Rick, you've put together a great guest. We know who he is, and he's so good we wanted him back. So I'll let you take the lead on this.
Well, just before, remember we talked about one of the segments being, what is the stupidest driving thing you've seen in the last week? And there's just so much to choose from. I come back to tailgating and texting. The combination of that is level 5 stupid. And we saw it today on the way here to the studio.
We did.
Unbelievable.
We
just
did.
Unbelievable. So when we talk about bad driving, there's no shortage of bad driving out on the highways. Some of the stupidest I've ever seen in my life. So along the lines of trying to find good driving, there are people that know how to tell other people how to do it, no matter how old they are. Some guys are really good at it. Some guys have lots of stories. Some guys really have the experience, like TK, Mr. Tony Kester, who's been a driving coach that we've worked with for probably over 40 years. He's quite the character. He has opinions on everything. And Tony, sounds like we need to get some driving tips from you.
Well, interestingly enough, I just drove from Chicago up to Rochester, Minnesota yesterday.
How did that go?
And I thought, it's very interesting because the closer I got to Minnesota, the more kind and nice the people were. There's something to that Minnesota nice thing. I'm way out of my element here. But as you get closer to Minnesota, the left lane bandits see you coming and move over.
Imagine that.
It's the most amazing thing. I don't know what it is, but, for most of the trip, it's somebody in the left-hand lane sitting next to a truck, and there's a whole line of cars behind them. And as you get closer up here, they see you coming and move over. Don't know. Maybe it's because most of the year it's winter up here, and they have to be more aware.
Does Cheryl criticize your driving?
Oh, of course not. Yeah. We won't get into that.
Okay. Go ahead, Rob. What were you going to say?
Tony, one thing that I think you might be aware of, this absorption we all have with the high speeds that people are traveling at on the highways. I'm aware that there's a speed awareness day in a community nearby where they're trying to get people to slow down. And they're going to have community awareness. They have a slogan. I think it says, speeding will catch up with you. And I was thinking long and hard about that whole issue. How do you slow people down? And I think we all know the answer. You give them lots of tickets. I am not in favor of that. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But in other countries, they've got speed cams on the highways. They don't need cops. Yeah. So I guess we've kind of decided to just let it rip. That's the way it looks.
It feels like the Wild West out there.
And it seems like, just observationally, it kind of started during COVID because I don't think the police were real big on pulling people over. And so the enforcement seemed to go, just my observation, seemed to go down to almost zero. And now, as we said last week, on 355, if you aren't going 80, you're getting your doors blown off. And goes back to you saying about how cars are so good now. Yeah, you can run 90 miles an hour, any car out there. And how do you fix that? That's a real good question, because no matter how good your car is, most people are certainly not aware enough to be driving 60, much less 90.
I've got an idea how you might fix it. I've thought about this for a long time. Why don't you just make the left lane unlimited speed, but charge for it? And have a certain indicator in your windshield. You can go as fast as you want. Doesn't matter. You can tailgate, do whatever, but charge an extra $1,000 a year. Then you move over to the next lane, and there's a top speed on it of maybe 90 miles an hour. Then you move to this other lane, the third lane over, and it's 75. Then it's down to 60.
It's like flying, first class, coach, and economy.
Yeah, regulate the speeds.
And also add one little element to that. You need different training for each lane.
No, you need no training at all. Think about this. If there was no speed limit and it was okay, and you could buy a license plate that said you can drive in the left lane at any speed you want, what do you think would happen? How fast do you think people would be driving in that lane?
Certainly 90, because I see it now on the way up there. There were plenty of people doing 90, but it depends on the speed limit. But 80 wouldn't think about it. You'd have some people going 140.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
Even on the Autobahn in Germany, not everybody drives at 120 miles an hour.
Right.
Well, Tony, how about a driving tip? I mean, I think we know the answer. You get out of the way. But when someone is that close to you, what's the safest thing to do? I imagine it is just that, right? Just get out of the way.
Well, yeah. And in my world, the rule is if there's an open lane next to you, you shouldn't be in the lane you're in.
Well, that's well said.
Right?
I feel like I'm talking to my sensei now.
Yeah.
We should have some incense going here now.
Well, next show we
Could you say, we should bring some incense. That would be nice. Would you say that again, please?
If there's an open lane to your right, you're in the wrong lane.
Wow. Okay, that's got to be one of our...
That's so simple, it makes sense.
I know.
Right. I try to keep it simple for myself.
Yeah. Okay.
But unfortunately, now the lane usage is 3 lanes. The right lane is merge, center lane is through lane, left lane, texting. That seems to be the way it is. Or it's left lane bandit with 15 people behind him, and the right lane is open.
What did you drive? What was the car you drove up there today or yesterday?
It's a 2016 Mercedes GLE 400.
Nice road car.
Very, very nice cruiser.
Yeah.
Very nice cruiser. One option it's missing, though, which I really appreciate on a long trip, would be adaptive cruise control.
You touched on that the other day when we were talking about something else. Why?
Mm-hmm. Because it takes the workload away. You can set it at whatever speed you're going to run. Let's say speed limit 70. Most people run 79. Okay, set it at 79. Well, you're in traffic. It holds the distance to the car ahead of you. You don't have to worry about changing your speed. And then when they move over, it goes back to your normal speed. And if you're cruising along with somebody, not everybody's cruise control is the same. You're at 79, they're at 79, but now you're half a mile an hour off. And it just, on a long trip, it just gets wearing. And I think it's just the greatest thing ever, next to heated steering wheel, that we're driving on long distance.
You think the drivers got nicer the closer you got and deeper into Wisconsin and closer to Minnesota?
Oh, God, yes.
Probably the roads got better, too.
Yeah, and actually the scenery is beautiful. I used to go to Brainerd all the time, but I always drove in the dark. First time I've ever gone in the daytime. It's beautiful scenery.
Listen, you've got to hear the cow story that my brother tells. Okay. Remember we talked about that? We talked about the scenery in the fields, the cows that were standing, and the cow.
Yeah, I was explaining to my brother.
This is very important technically.
I'm shocked that he did not know this, but cows can predict the weather.
Did you know that, Tony?
I have an opinion on that, yes.
But listen to this, though.
Okay, so, he said, well, how does that work? I said, well, if they're sitting down in the field, there's an impending rainstorm coming.
Tell them how you found out, though. You were coached on this.
I was coached on this.
Early on.
Yeah, well, early on, yeah. That's maybe another story.
Okay.
But so I found out that the cows can tell the weather that's coming. If they're sitting down on the ground, there's an impending rainstorm. So the obvious question one must ask is, well, what if half are sitting and half are standing? And the answer is 50% chance of rain.
There you go.
Exactly.
You learn something every day.
Well, and it's nice to hear somebody else who believes that, because I've been saying that for years.
All right.
I know I'm right.
All right.
I know I'm right.
Have you really been saying that?
Yes. I always say cows are laying down. If they're laying down, it's going to rain. If the seagulls are in, it's going to rain.
Wow, I learned something.
Kind of opens a new dimension on some of the things we can talk about. Wow.
Tony, any tips on driving in the super hot weather? And are cars different in this kind of weather?
Nowadays, probably not. But, like I've always said, it goes back to just being aware of what's going on. Situational awareness, which you may be talking about later in this program. Situational awareness, what is going on around and how you deal with it. Wintertime is much more a factor.
Sure. Usually
in the summer. And with the cars now, you don't have to worry about them overheating like you used to. You don't have to worry about the brakes going out when you're trying to go down a hill. But I think in the wintertime, no, it's just, I don't think it's anything different.
Would it be helpful in really hot weather if you drove naked and took all your clothes off? Would that make you
it
better?
Depends on me? No, but other people? Probably. Depends.
We always get some tips from TK, the coach, and we're going to hear from TK on a regular basis. He's an important part of our program. So stay tuned. We've got another exciting guest coming up. And remember to call us with your comments, text or call. You're listening to the RPM Club with the Mancuso brothers.
Keep laughing.
Now, more of RPM Club. Here are your hosts, Rick and Rob Mancuso.
Welcome back. We have another great guest. My brother Rick is going to introduce him.
Well, I'm kind of a fan, but I think I could safely say that when they couldn't get Michael Keppen, they hired Tom Cruise to play Top Gun. Michael would have been better. Michael, how are you?
I'm very well, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Let me give you a little background to our guest here. We're going to talk about some high horsepower and acceleration and things like that and kind of set a new benchmark for what's fast and what isn't. But he just spent the last 24 years, 20 in the Navy, 4 years ROTC before then, flying P-3s, anti-sub warfare aircraft all around the world, 38 combat missions, and been on and off the carriers. Wow. So he's got some great background when you talk about acceleration and G-forces. But we were talking earlier, and I don't want to lose track of this. He was talking about flying some of the different aircraft, 100, 200 feet over the water in the middle of the ocean looking for subs and stuff like that. You really learn to appreciate the color blue. And then he said sometimes you try to get where you find the rhythm of the plane, and you're just kind of flying out there working as one complete unit. I thought that was a very interesting comment. So we're rookies at this. In acceleration and horsepower. So I'm kind of curious, when you're like on the deck of an aircraft carrier, you guys are waving to each other and stuff. I know it all means something. I'm trying to make light of it and so forth. But when you slam that pedal to the floor, and I know it's not a pedal, I mean, what is that like? How fast is that? How many pounds of thrust is that?
So I know that when I was summer training in college, I was attached to what's called a VAW squadron, a airborne early warning squadron, flying in the E-2 Hawkeye. So it's the plane with the big radome on top. And imagine you're going 0 to 170 miles an hour in under 2 seconds in about 300 feet. So 1/18th of a mile, you're going 0 to 170 in less than 2 seconds. And as far as what that feels like, I mean, I call it a body-to-bone experience. So, you feel the organs in your body, slam to the back, and you land just as fast as you take off. But the plane that I was fortunate enough to fly with 10 of my brothers and closest friends was land-based. So though I had experience on the aircraft carrier, during that summer training, my main experience is land-based, flying the P-3 Orion, and it's still fun because, like you said, you're flying a plane over the horizon with your closest friends, doing national missions in support of, troops on the ground and stuff like that. It just becomes this part of you that you can't let go, and then the feeling of being in the air, seeing the world from that perspective. totally changes how you see things.
Well, it's got to be almost surreal to experience those things.
We think our cars are fast,
Right.
Michael, and well, you're in another realm. I mean, you got us on that. You got us on that, especially the acceleration.
Yeah, how many feet did you say it was before you get to 200 miles an hour? It was 100,
So
100 feet?
typically from it's about 300 feet, 1/18 of a mile, and I was on the USS Enterprise at the time, and that was a steam catapult. Some of the newer carriers have electromagnetic catapults now, which may be a little faster. I don't know the speed, but essentially you're taking a very heavy aircraft that's fully loaded, fully fueled, and launching it in less than a football field. So it's pretty amazing feat of engineering, and pretty cool.
When you watch that,
Cool deal.
it seems sometimes when you get off the very end of the carrier that sometimes the aircraft dips for a little second or two. Sometimes they always just don't go rocketing off up into the sky. Are different planes gaining altitude faster than others? Because
Gravity takes over. I mean, Mother Nature certainly is in control, but an E2 Hawkeye doesn't have the same thrust and force as an F-18 or certainly an F-22 or F-35. So, but they're all tens of thousands of pounds, and they naturally drop, and then lift and force and all of that takes over and defies gravity. But it's certainly exhilarating. And my college roommate and closest college buddy is he's still on active duty. He's an F-18 fighter pilot, Top Gun instructor, Top Gun graduate. He's back in flight school now, learning how to fly the F-35. And they came up through the Navy base here in Chicago at Great Lakes, and had the opportunity to put them in a Tesla, a P100D. And I thought at the time that was the fastest car off the line that I'd ever driven. So I was kind of egotistical, like, guys, I'm going to show you something here. And we went out on a backcountry road, a straightaway, and it was me and three other guys. And it was like, that's kind of how it feels to be shot off a carrier, right? And he said, no, not exactly, but it's pretty close.
That's something. But you love cars as well. I mean, you're a real car guy.
I love it. And I was never, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a gearhead. I do appreciate the science and the artistry, the engineering and aerodynamics and all of that goes into manufacturing a vehicle like that. But, what I appreciate most is how driving a vehicle, certainly a Ferrari or a Porsche, you put the top down and you just have that visceral feeling where the world goes away. And it's therapy. I call it car therapy.
It certainly is, Michael. And if you can stick around till after the break and come back to us, we'd love to talk about how you satisfy that need for speed now.
Yeah, I
Probably
agree.
something that never leaves you when you've experienced it.
I've got a question for him as well, too.
We'll be right back. You're listening to the RPM Club.
300 feet to 200 miles an hour.
We now return to RPM Club with your hosts, Rick and Rob Mancuso.
Welcome back. We have a terrific guest that was kind enough to stay over the break, and we can hear more about Michael's need for speed and how he satisfies that. Now, Rick, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, one of the things we're doing, Rob and I are working on this C3 Corvette project where we're going to be refreshing Corvettes, the older ones, 68s through 73s and 4s, from an engineering standpoint underneath the bodywork, from the headlights to the taillights. And we want them to look the same. We just want them to be dependable, comfortable, and drive as beautifully as they look. So we put together an advisory board, and one of the things, Michael is on it, and we talk about these things often, and one of the things that I'd like to take to the next level, assuming you're interested, is to have him test drive some of the cars before and get his impressions about what we should be addressing on each particular car. So I want to, if we can work this out, Michael, to be having you go through a series of road tests with the different versions of the cars, and then as we make changes to them to get some validation, pro or con, and what you think we should be doing.
You're probably very good at listening and getting a feel for what might be right or wrong
or feeling it.
Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you often talk about flying by the seat of your pants, but you can really, even in an aircraft, you can feel it, you can hear it, you can smell it, what's going on with the plane, the engines, all of those things. You just become a part of it, man and machine, flowing together. And when I've driven a lot of the vehicles, that's the same feeling I get. Man and machine are one, and you're driving down a road or an interstate, and you could be going 50 miles an hour or 150 miles an hour. It's a similar feeling, but I would say the faster I go, the more aware I am. And you certainly have a respect for speed. But your aperture opens, you don't become laser focused. You start to see everything, and you become hyper aware. But in that same moment, all of your fears, all of your stress, all of your anxiety, goes out the tailpipe with the exhaust, and you're just one, in the moment. And it's just it's a feeling of serenity, of passion, of, the history and the heritage, all of those things that go into building a machine like that. It's ever present, and it's just a fantastic way to kind of, get rid of all of those feelings of stress that you may have. And that's the therapeutic aspect of it.
I'm sure a plane is much like a car. It talks to you. It's transmitting information to you all through your body, your toes and fingers and eyes and feelings and whatever vibrations you think. It does clear your mind because you can't think about much else. But you get in that zone, and it's a great place to be. And again, like you said, you don't have to be going 500 miles an hour in your situation or 100 miles an hour in the street. It could be going 40 miles an hour under the right conditions, the right evening or the right morning, under the right road. I think there's many opportunities to get that therapeutic mind cleanse. It's really, really spot on, Michael.
Michael, the way you described it, the poetic way you described it, is how we feel about cars.
It's in sync. We're in sync.
Right? I mean, how you described the thrill, the visceral thrill, the appreciation for the engineering, the trust in the engineering with an aircraft, especially the high-performance aircrafts that you fly. That's how we feel about the high-performance cars that we're familiar with and what we're going to do.
It's identical feeling.
It's exactly identical.
Yeah, how fun is that? What's your favorite airplane to fly?
Well, I've only had the opportunity to fly three. So you start out in a T-34, and that's the Turbo Mentor, the trainer down at Pensacola that most of everybody goes through. And then I went through the T-43, which is a larger twin-engine turbojet, and then ultimately the P-3. And naturally, I'm biased. I like the P-3. It's a multi-mission platform, whether we were flying over water or over land. I liked it, and I actually chose it. I was top of my class in flight school, and I had the opportunity to fly jets. But the day that I started flight school was the day that I was going to, or the day that I found out I was going to be a dad. So the P3 is land-based. It's not carrier-based, and it provides a better quality of life. But it's also a multi-person platform. So I would rather have been with a crew, 11 souls on board, flying around the world, doing some pretty cool missions than by myself in a cockpit of an F-18, flying off the carrier 7 to 9 months at sea. So P3 was a great time. And I'm pretty sure that at the time we were one of the planes that carried the most armament and ordnance in the United States Navy inventory. So multiple missile stations on each wing, a bomb bay that could carry up to 8 torpedoes, rockets, mines, you name it. So we were a fully loaded multi-mission platform, and it was just a fun thing to do and fun place to be around the world. So
there's times that I wish I had that kind of armament when I was driving on the tollway, and I could deploy it as needed to move some of the cars out of the way or take care of some of the tailgaters or texters.
I'm sure Elon's working on it.
I'm sure he is too. But I think to have an opportunity to work with someone like Michael and have him oversee and give us input and directions on
terrific,
putting characteristics and personalities into the cars that we're working on and having fun with brings it to a new special level. So Just great stuff. Thank you so much for being online with us. This will be the first of many visits we have with you.
We appreciate you, Michael, and we look forward to having you on as a guest again if you've got the time.
Yeah, and thanks for everything you do for all of us. We couldn't be here doing what we do if it isn't for you and all of our friends in the military. So, great stuff.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Glad to be with you.
You're
Likewise.
listening to You're listening to the RPM Club. Stay tuned.
What a story, isn't it?
Great story.
If you're passionate about all things automotive, you're in the right place. This is RPM Club. Here's Rick and Rob Mancuso.
You know, Rick, one of the best parts of the show, I think, is that we are able to attract guests like TK, a driving coach.
Just great.
Michael, his experience flying these incredible aircraft.
And we learn a lot just listening to guys like this.
We do, and it's something that I hope people listening to the show feel the same way about.
And think about it.
And think about it, right. We want to give some tips, some driving tips. We also want to learn about other people's passion for cars, because that's what the show is about. And on that note, and I know that I'm very much a Tesla believer. And by the way, that does not come naturally. Growing up in a GM family, growing up around cars.
Well, I can say the same thing, and I'm well on that trail.
Well, it's funny because the car that I'm currently driving, the Model S Plaid, with 1,020 horsepower, which, yes, I'll say it, nobody needs, but wow.
Yes.
All-wheel drive. 0 to 60, 1.9. It's quite a car. And beyond the speed and the handling, when we got in the car to come back from Road America, it was very interesting because we had about a 2-hour and 20-minute drive back after, some long time at the track, and we were looking for a comfortable ride back.
But it was interesting both ways. It was interesting on the way up when we wanted to stop for charging. We didn't need it. We just wanted to do it.
Right.
And we had to weave our way through it looked like barriers.
Right.
In areas we didn't know, on the side of the expressway, in shopping centers with blockades everywhere, into a parking garage. It was unbelievable.
Well, Rick's right. I mean, we deployed full self-driving, supervised both directions. And the car was able to go into mall parking lots, 3rd and 4th levels, and find the supercharger back in and charge itself. We pressed the button that said home when we left Elkhart Lake, and 143 miles later, we arrived, and I had not touched the wheel.
It was unbelievable to me how perfectly the car drove, how dead-centered it was in every lane, how it was like having a co-driver on board. It was always just about a half a step ahead of how we would think about it.
Well, that's a good way to say it because the car is a rolling computer, right? And it sees oncoming cars. It sees cars we can't see behind us, to the side of us, 360 cameras. It's doing math calculations.
Wildlife, too, because we were in Wisconsin at dusk.
We were in Wisconsin at dusk, and I'm thinking, how many deer might be running around out here? We went from daylight to dusk into darkness. It was the day last week where the wildfire smoke was thick. It looked like we were driving into a cloud bank.
Yeah.
And the car was absolutely perfect.
That was phenomenal.
The entire way. And my comment to people about full self-driving, if you haven't experienced it, whether it's Tesla or someone that has their version of it, by the way, no one has anything close to Tesla's, you must experience that feeling. It releases the bandwidth we use to drive, even though it doesn't always look like it on the street, to do other things, to relax.
Not a substitute for driving.
No, not a substitute.
But a great co-pilot
road.
to have with you
The best
anytime
co-pilot.
you need it, the best you could ever have. That's where I think security feeling, the calmness feeling comes in, that Zen-like moment that you get inside a Tesla.
Well, this is the portion of the show as we wrap up where we talk about predictions for next week, and then we watch the week roll out, and then the next show we'll see how we did. What's yours?
You know what I've been noticing is the enormous amount of inventory sitting in the dealers' lots lately. Mm-hmm. And I'm feeling that we're overproducing the market. We're ahead of the market a little bit right now. And I think part of that is you're seeing these 0% financings pop up.
Sure.
The market's maturing or changing gears or
all the
shifting.
above.
Something's in movement.
Prices are up. Affordability is a little challenging.
Yeah.
My prediction is the prices on lower price used vehicles will continue to have the percentage-wise biggest increase in pricing.
Yeah.
That's where the market is right now. Well, we hope you enjoy the RPM Club.
We sure have.
Promise to have guests that you will find interesting. We promise to be as interesting as we can. And as you know, there's a credo that we live by.
Absolutely.
And it's very simple. We promise to be always confident and often wrong.
Exactly.
We'll see you next week. You're listening to the RPM Club.
Cheers.